Hey there, Minecrafter! I, LEGO Xbox, welcome you to the very first part of the ultimate guide to Lord of the Craft. Today you will be learning about the very first process in joining the role-playing server, the whitelist application. First, you're going to need to find the correct area of the forums. It is one of the first sections. The name is whitelist applications, and within that it is application submissions. You'll need to get the form from the topic named the Lord of the Craft application format. You can read up on the post, but I will explain that in this video. So once you are done, go copy the form contained in the quote. Once copied, return to the application submissions forums and click the Create New Topic button. This will only be possible if you have already registered to the forums. Once you click such a button, you can paste the copied form in the white text box. It will appear very strange, as if highlighted with brown and such. To get rid of all formatting, just select all and click the little eraser up in the formatting bar. We will get back to proper formatting later. Starting with the first of the questions, this is the easiest, considering you have bought Minecraft. All you need to do is type in your in-game username. Make sure you type it case sensitive. Now, for this question, there is no need to lie. Nobody has ever been denied over their age. It is only so that the staff can study the average age of the server. You can be denied over lying, though. Your time zone is easily Googled. A great place to go is World Time Buddy, where you can simply put in the name of the city you live in and it will supply you with your time zone. If you still can't find out your time zone, you can always just say the country you live in. Many people do not understand this question at first. Role-playing, if you do not know what it is not playing a game like Skyrim, World of Warcraft, or RuneScape. Those are RPGs. Role-playing is mostly text-based, where you take upon a role of a character created by your imagination. You can roleplay on World of Warcraft or RuneScape, but it is not the aim of the game. If you roleplayed before, specifically on Minecraft, all you have to do is list the servers you have done so on. If you haven't, just answer with a n/a. Maybe you are watching this video because you don't know why you were denied in the first place. Well, if you were denied, please add the link to your previous applications. This helps staff see what you did wrong in your previous application and see if you have improved and thus accept you or not. A friend told you about this server? Maybe you just found it out of luck. No matter how, just state how in this question. It helps the staff determine where you are coming from. Statistics. Everyone has their hopes up when joining a server, especially when there are such pictures and videos of the landscape of this world out for all to see. You can't be judged for what you say here, just explain what you think. Be completely honest here. You must read the rules. If you haven't and you give evidence that you haven't, you will quickly be denied. And not reading the rules before joining the server means you could easily be banned in the server. Everyone has some sort of rule they enjoy the most or think is really important. Whichever one it is, write it down. This is really just a question to make sure you have read the rules. The definitions. Now this is the part where either you'll need to do more research on, or just listen to me explain them. So here we go. Role-playing, to me, is to step into the shoes of some being and acting out their actions, saying what they would say, if they could talk, that is. As the name indicates, you play a role, and that is really it. But what gives you the most attraction to roleplay is that you can roleplay anyone you want. Now, put that into your own words and write it down. Metagaming is something roleplayers know very well. But if you're not a roleplayer, here's what it means. This is the act of using out-of-character knowledge in character. One of the simplest examples is when you see someone's name in chat, and then you call them by that name, without your character actually knowing that that is their name. That is metagaming. You need to remember that what you know isn't what your character knows. Powergaming can be two things, so it is best to list them both. Even the newest of roleplayers know what powergaming initially means: being overpowered. So in essence, god modding your character is powergaming. However, that is not the only definition of powergaming. It can also be called power emoting. That is when you emote an action that is already finalized and which your adversary cannot react to, such as A stabs B in the head, killing him. The correct way of emoting that would have been A tries to stab B in the head. So be careful of that. That wasn't so bad, was it? Now, this may be a little more tedious, writing your character card. Although it may appear boring, it is really important to know your character well, so this is what this part is for. Do not worry though, you can always make a new character later on if you get bored of your first one. Your character's name can be quite simple if you're going to be a human, but otherwise, you need to go with a name that sounds like one of the race you play. Whereas a human may be called Jeff, an orc may be called Krev, or an elf may be called Yaf, and so on. Please do not make an orc named Daisy. You may be a human, but is that what your character is? He can be one of the 5 main races: human, elf, orc, dwarf, or Karajir. Be sure to read up the lore on the wiki before you continue with any non-human character. But you don't have to play one of the main races, you can play one of the many sub-races. Every sub-race has its own perk. Check them out. Are you a male? Well, you can always play as a female character. Your character isn't you, and if you think you can take the opposite gender, go ahead. The age of your character is quite important, depending on your race. Elves live almost forever, but you need to remember that our current world isn't our only world. There have been many more before, and you will have to take that into account when writing the next section. The longest part of your application is probably this one. You have to make a short biography on your character's life, childhood, and all. It doesn't need to be in tremendous detail, just enough so you can understand why and how your character behaves. Don't be too vague with where your character has been. Be sure to mention some city or two in this. Look up the different cities around the Lord of the Craft world, if you're not sure which one your character may have been across. Your personality should make sense with the biography. If your parents were farmers, you may be a nice and friendly man, but if they are slaughtered, your character wouldn't be the nicest guy. Ambitions don't have to be directly linked to your biography, but sometimes it's easy to find inspiration within it. It's better to avoid a generic revenge or wanderlust ambition and find one which is more original. You don't need to have a special skill, nor should you have all the skills. A special skill should be something which your character excels in uniquely. You can't not have a weakness. That would be silly. This can be anything from being physically weak to being mentally weak, such as being a coward. As they tell you to, give a description of what your character looks like. No need for extreme detail unless you like writing. It should correspond more or less with the skin you will post later on. Release yourself. You can say anything that may not be specifically asked here. And finally, here you post a screenshot of your character's skin. Now, it's always good to include a picture of what it would look like in game and of the actual skin file. To place an image on your application, use the little picture button in the formatting bar. After the pop-up appears, copy-paste a link to your picture in the box and then it will appear in the text editor. Now for formatting. This is probably one of the most important parts of the application. Getting all the answers right is good and all, but nothing is more off-putting than a full grey or stuffed-up formatted text. This is why I am going to show you an easy way of making the application review easier for the staff. The simplest way to format your application is to first highlight the questions and press the little button which has a B on it, and thus bold the questions. Now, if you would like to do more than a plain bold, non-bold format, you can also add color. This is a really delicate part. You should choose the colors which go together, like green and light green. The lighter color should always be the answer. However, do not use too dark of a color such as black. The forum background is almost black and it is unreadable. Do not do the full application in a strong electronic color either, cyan or pure red. There are plenty of other ways you can make your application look better, such as placing quotations in italic or important words and expressions in italic or bold. But the delights of formatting will be covered in a later video of this guide. Before you post, you need to put a title. This should be your Minecraft name followed by application and the application number. Once done, click on the little button at the bottom here, named Post. Now your application complete, you will have to wait for one of the application team members to review it. This may take a while, but as soon as it is under review, you'll know. Unfortunately, you may have made some little mistake. This will put your application on pending. You'll have 12 to 24 hours to edit your application with the appropriate corrections listed by the application team member. You need to go to your post and press this button here, Edit. In the unfortunate case that you be denied, do not feel bad. The accepted-denied ratio is usually 1 to 5. Follow the instructions of the application team member who denied you, and then wait your allocated time of 24 hours before reposting your applications with the corrections. Great! You have been accepted! Well done! Now all you have to do is wait for a member of the global moderating team to implement you into the server. This shouldn't take too long. Have a great roleplay experience and be sure to check out the next episodes of this guide if you have any more uncertainties.